The Team Never Quit podcast is sponsored by Navy Federal Credit Union. Navy Federal has multiple savings and investing options to help you get closer to your financial goals. Learn more at NavyFederal.org. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Team Never Quit podcast. Marcus, John, what's up, guys?
Ready for another one?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I'm excited, man.
Let's do it.
Hey, we've got somebody cool in virtual land of Zoom hanging out with us today. Chris Bussler, man. What's up? What's going on? Welcome to the show.
This is called half in, half out of the studio.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm doing well, man. I'm really happy to be here. It's an honor to meet you guys.
Well, brother, man, thanks for being here. Happy New Year. We got 2022 kicking off. I know it's going to be an interesting one for sure. We've been through a lot already.
Absolutely.
But that's a wonderful thing about going through a bunch of stuff with each other is that it makes us not only stronger, but it brings us closer together. I know a lot of people don't see that, but those of us in the military, it's kind of that's the life we lead and what we have to go through and what we kind of pull away from that. So thanks again for being here, bro.
Well, before I do a formal intro of Chris, I got to say, we've got a Patreon question that I figured we could talk about. What is the craziest dare you have ever agreed to?
That's a good one. Join the military?
That's pretty crazy.
I can't think of anything.
That is a tough one.
Yeah.
John, you got anything?
Oh, I just thought of mine. Go
Okay.
ahead. Who's got one? All right. So in sniper school, I got dared. We were at Pendleton and on the stock field, man, they had those old cactus that had the huge leaves on them. I forget what they're called, man. But anyways, I had to cut some of those pads off, and put them in my uniform, and do the stalk with that thing with those in my uniform, including down in my drawers, man. And which I thought I was tough, and that would be a great idea. About 4 hours later, as I was regretting it, but yeah, that was probably one of the dumbest ones I did.
Golly,
I can't think of anything. Usually people don't dare me anything.
Do they still say that word around here? I hadn't heard that in a while.
I haven't
dare you.
I dare you. Yeah,
We're bringing it back because there used to be the double dare,
triple dog dare.
Yeah, right. We're bringing those back, man. The dares.
I can't remember either. That's good.
Yeah, I know when I was a kid, who didn't dare you to jump your bike off of something?
Oh yeah,
and you had to do it.
Well, that's the first bike wreck, right?
Yeah, exactly.
When you got dared to do that. I got on a hunt, got dared to step out and go slap one of those Cape Buffalo on the ass. I was halfway through it till I started turning around, and come back. But yeah, the bicycle ones are always, that's how it starts, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's always on the bike. Think you're Evel Knievel.
All right. Well, Chris is an Air Force brat in the excuse me. I want to try that again. Chris grew up as an Air Force brat in the 1970s and 1980s. He joined the Marine Corps Reserves right out of high school and was assigned to the MP Co-C in Dayton, Ohio as an 0311 rifleman. He is a retired Marine combat veteran and the author of No Tougher Duty, No Greater Honor. Excited to be having you here today, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
So you got to take us way back. Take us way back.
Yeah, Air Force brat. So you're 70s, 80s, baby. That's good. That's what we are.
That's right. Born in 74.
What's up, right?
Yeah.
We're a different breed, man. The hybrids, the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
But you're Air Force brat. You got military. Is it a history in your family?
Yes, sir. Yeah, my dad served in the Air Force. He was 3 tours in Vietnam. It was where he met and married my mom when he was stationed in Thailand. I have history where my grandfather served in the Pacific during World War II. I have a granduncle who landed on Omaha Beach, fought his way to Bastogne before he got hurt and medevaced out. Going back all the way to the Civil War.
That's awesome.
Yep.
It's amazing to have the cool part about this day and age and the technology we have is looking back and finding the history. Because sometimes that stuff gets lost even when you have it in your family. The same way with us. He got hurt right before Bastogne. Everyone got hurt. Man, they marched across that whole, and talking to those World War II veterans, there's not very many of them left in the Korea and the Vietnam guys, man. They always kind of tell us how great, it's good having us down here and everything like that, man. But what they had to go through was something.
Yep, absolutely. There was no taking some time off and you had to get right back into the middle of the fight.
Wanted to go back up in there, but because they're together so long.
Yep.
I mean, just to jump in on that place is the craziest thing. None of the shells that hit the beach landed where they were supposed to. They dropped them and scattered them all over the world.
Yeah.
Had to march their way back.
The bombers came in. They didn't even hit the targets.
Not even one of them. I know. I didn't know that till recently. I was watching something, man. Some of the documentaries they got there, they're like, oh, yeah, the shelling didn't even hit. They dropped them into a live target. And I was like, that's sweet.
Yeah, the first wave. I just finished reading Bedford Boys.
Yeah.
He was a bunch of guys from Virginia. It was a National Guard unit that was on that first wave. And I want to say it was like 19 of them in this one little town. I ended up dying.
Yeah.
Company A of that group there.
Right. That's probably when they started dividing us up, right? And the brothers, and it was during the World War II boys, because there's so many of them would die from one town. It would debilitate the entire town. Yeah, Sullivan's on the ship. Yeah, for sure. That was one thing when my brother and I were in. We weren't allowed to ride in the same Humvee or the same helicopter.
Wow.
There was this. People ask if that Sullivan Act is a mandatory thing. Well, it's in the military. We don't ever talk about this, but there's some understood rules that we follow, like some protocols, just because of stuff that happened in the past, and that's kind of one of them.
Yep. I didn't get the honor of serving with my brothers. My brother broke his hip in boot camp 2 weeks from graduation, and my other brother served in the Air Force, so I didn't get a chance to serve with them.
You were the only Marine?
I am the only Marine in the entire history of my family.
Is that true?
Absolutely.
Oh, that's awesome. The family reunions are great. That's bragging rights right there.
Yeah.
That's bragging rights. Because once a Marine, always a Marine. And if people don't know this, like if you join up and sign up for the military into the Navy, you have to go to Navy boot camp. If you go to Army, you have to go to Army boot camp. Marines have to go to Marine. But if you just lateral over to a different service branch, like from Army to Navy or Navy to Air Force, you have to go back through their boot camps. The only ones that don't are Marines. They're the only ones that don't have to do that. It's pretty amazing. I'll tell you a lot. I give Marines a lot of props now because y'all have to save my ass so many times back in the day. When we were in our skin, you know the deal. We were like, hey, we didn't need y'all's help. We're tougher and all that bullshit. But now, like, oh yeah, freaking Marines, man, you need them.
Yeah. We were when I was in Iraq, man. When we heard we had SEALs operating in our area, we're like, well, holy cow, man, this is pretty awesome. We must be high on the totem pole if we get Navy SEALs out in our area.
I remember when we really started working together a lot, like for the sniper missions and the DAs and stuff like that. And the bragging and the machismo and all that stuff was always there, sure. But man, we would get in trouble with each other because of how much fun we'd start to have. Like their discipline, and it's not that we have a lack of discipline. I don't think we'll probably do, Just with everything else, man, it was fun. It was some chaos, man. You want to talk about bringing the hammer down? They put our two groups together.
Yep,
we made some noise for sure.
Did you know that you were going to go to the Marines basically since you were young? Like,
yeah, obviously, how'd you get that?
Absolutely not.
Was that the dare?
No, it wasn't a dare. It was that I grew up in the Air Force. I grew up my dad worked on the flight lines, refueling airplanes, or he was manning a desk. And I grew up, when we lived overseas, seeing the Marines PT in the morning. And,
they do that.
I saw them, their uniforms are always tight. And
they do that too.
Immaculate.
They have the best uniforms. That's one of the deals. And everyone says that. Like when them suckers show up in their chokers, man, that's a big deal.
During the Gulf War, my mom was adamant that I joined the Air Force, and my dad was kind of pushing me there too. But after watching everything that these guys did in Desert Storm, and then having the recruiter come up and explain things to us, what was happening and everything, it really sold me. So I knew I was wanting to get in, and I wanted to shoot guns and blow things up and do things that I only seen on movies. And I never thought I'd ever have a chance to ever go to war. I just wanted to go out and do cool things.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying that. A lot of guys, because when you're watching the TV and the commercials and stuff like that, and sometimes like back in our day, they did a great job of recruiting us.
Yep.
Because the movies were designed that way too. I mean, we had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Stallone. I mean, our generation, everybody was, and then the war movies, the martial art movies, they did a great job of doing that. And you signed up for that adventure. I was like, hey man, I want to scuba dive and jump out of airplanes and shoot guns and blow stuff up. And the war thing was always kind of in the back of your head if you had to use it.
Mm-hmm.
But we trained for war the entire time, whether it's on or not. So the life in the military isn't exciting. It is exciting for sure. Absolutely. And it's funny now because I'm out and after doing some stretches with the Air Force, I tell everyone who asks me like, hey, I want to be a Navy SEAL. I'm like, go in the Air Force. You should join the Air Force. They got special forces there. They take care of the people. When we showed up on that Air Force base in Qatar that time and they had the volleyball courts and the Baskin and Robbins and, we had been living in a hole for months. And you come in, dude, and I'm like, wow. All the hot chicks join the Air Force. It's amazing. It's weird, man.
Yeah, we ended up doing the same thing too. When after the invasion, they pulled my team out, one of the first teams, because they thought these other units that we were training, they wanted them to get them to get some experience. And so we got on the wrong flight, and we ended up in Oman.
Oh yeah,
and an Air Force base, Seeb Air Base in Oman.
How about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. With the volleyball courts.
Bro, that's what happened to us.
Yeah,
same thing.
Pizza Hut and
that freaking Pizza Hut in that with the swimming pool behind it. Do you remember that? I remember walking off and I was like, "Is there a swimming pool behind that?" I mean, we're tattered feet. Yeah, dude. Same time. This is the same time frame. I'll never forget that. That's when I started telling everybody.
Stopped what they were doing and watched us walk by. We were filthy.
Oh, dude.
Our hair was all, we haven't had a haircut, in like a month.
Yeah.
And razor burns from shaving so we can keep that seal on our gas masks and everything. Yeah, it's
God, I forgot about that, man.
You guys those guys, it's kind of like, like the record dance that record at the dance club just skipped, and everybody was like, "Oh, what was going on here?" And we walked in, and
because the plane would land and taxi right over to it and drop us off right there.
Yep, it wasn't that far away from the what they call the Pentagon, which is the no salute area.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that far away.
Yeah, it's because they were in their bikinis and shorts playing volleyball with perfect tans. I remember that, not shaven, kind of hair is all adrift. Freaking long, and them out there having the time of their life. That's awesome. Yeah. Good job. Great for them, man. Go ahead. No, seriously, man. Great for them. Like dumbasses that joined the Marine Corps and Navy. All right, so you joined up, or you got Air Force in your system already, and your brother still went. Are you the oldest?
I am the oldest.
Right on. So. The idea to be a full-time Marine when that came up. How old were you? Out of high school or college?
Right out of high school. I signed up senior year. At first, I wanted to go active duty, but after thinking, because I grew up traveling and never having a place to call home, and I figured if I ever have kids, I don't really want them to go through the same thing. So I already traveled around the world, and I really didn't want to go out and see new sites, but I wanted to serve. So there was a reserve unit close to my house that accepted grunts, and that was MP Company Charlie in Dayton. And little did they tell me when I signed up and got checked into the unit that they were like, "Oh, we don't do grunt things here. You're going to be part of Mortuary Affairs." And I'm like, "What the hell is that?" And so
is that code for like death dealer or something like that, or is it straight up what I think it is?
Do I do funeral details? What's that? And he goes, "No, you're the guys that go out on the front lines and find the guys who get killed, the guys with their helicopters get shot down. You go get them and you recover their remains and you bring them back." So, I was a little, I don't know, nervous about the whole idea because that's not what I wanted to do. But after a while of being there, and I realized that the guys there in this unit were cool, and I was never going to go to war. So I would never have to do that job. And little did I know, just 10 years later, I ended up getting deployed.
Oh, yeah. Well, that puts you right in there.
Yes,
I don't know why that reminded me of that movie Predator with Schwarzenegger. They were a recovery unit.
Yep.
And the guys had to come in and get us. I mean, they get dropped into the hot spot to get pull those bodies back out for sure. One of the first mission I ever did in my SEAL career was a recovery op. There was an F-18 that got shot down by one of our own Patriot missiles back right when the wars first kicked off.
Wow.
Split his plane in half, and it landed in a lake. you could see the tail fin out of the water, and then the nose had gone all the way down. So we had to go with EOD and bip that, and then found him on the side of the. He was away from his chute had been deployed, but he didn't make it. And I remember that recovery up. So we got an idea of what you guys do. So go ahead with it.
The idea. It started because of back in Vietnam, there was a guy named I think it was Lance Corporal Jackson from Atlanta, Georgia. He was with 3rd Battalion, 4th Marine, same guys that I was with, but he was with the India Company, and there was an attack, and I guess they had all their things from their artillery, all the bags for the shells, the gunpowder bags.
Yeah,
they ended up flashing and blowing up, and those guys ended up getting hurt, and somewhere along the way, he was missing. So that's how we got the thing started. They tasked out Lieutenant Colonel Cassidy and said, "Hey, build up a unit that they can go out there and recover. They know what they're looking for, either on the site or if there's a helicopter crash or anything." And so that's how we got started. And when Somalia kicked off, then they really saw the value of what we were.
When did that unit spin up? When was it during the storms or the shields?
During the storm, they ended up spitting up a bunch of guys, and they policed up the highway of death and stuff like that. But they weren't really on the front lines, not like how we were during our invasion in 2003. But those guys were more in the rear. But they ended up doing that, and then we were training on World War II manuals.
Oh yeah,
because nobody else had ever written down what it was like to recover guys and what we needed to know. So all through the 90s, we were just training on just like patrolling scenarios.
Right.
And you go up and you secure the perimeter, and you do your site sketch, go in and recover the remains, and you extract. So from there,
I wonder what caused that, because you're right. I mean, it's not that we had to reinvent the wheel, but I remember when we came in the 90s, because the Vietnam guys were real heavy because they trained up the storms and the shields, and it was a lot of that patrolling, desert or jungle. It all mixed up.
Yep.
But I guess their war was so jungle. I mean, they were fighting in there? The tactics and all that stuff. It's kind of hard to teach us that because a lot of it was chaos.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it was ambush ops most of the time for them that they were having to do. That's why they're so damn tough. Like, people aren't aware of that, man. Most of the time, when the Vietnam guys went in for something, they knew they were coming.
Yep.
And they hit them with everything they got.
In contact. We didn't get in contact in Vietnam. Something was wrong. Something was about to happen.
Yeah.
Our next partner has a product I've been using literally every single day for basically the last year and a half. I started taking athletic greens because I've had gut issues my entire life. Basically, since I was a little kid, couldn't handle milk or formula or any of that stuff. I actually had to take Pedialyte, which is really bizarre. And it caused a bunch of problems when I was a kid. And, growing up, I just have always had gut health issues. And so the challenge with that is you can take, probiotics, and you can be super mindful about your diet, and you can take multivitamins. But before you know it, your cabinet's full, your drawers are full, you don't remember what you bought for what, and you start getting out of the routine of being consistent. And I was tired of that. I had heard a lot about athletic greens from some of my favorite YouTubers. They were actually talking about how amazing it was and how easy it was. And I was like, you know what? Let's see what the hype's all about. And so I tried it. I've been using it now, like I said, for over a year, and it's pretty incredible. My sister is a big health nut, all right? And I say that in the most kind way. She does all her research. She makes sure that the products that she's taking are always the top-notch ingredients because she's got an autoimmune disease. She has to be really mindful about what she puts in her body. Athletic Greens seriously has done their homework. They've done their research. They've only picked ingredients that are credible for your body. When she reads off the ingredients, I can't say half the words, but she knows exactly what they are. She knows that they're the best for you. How does it work? What is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that are all going to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients is going to support that gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all the things. I've been using it because it's freaking easy. All right. I can wake up, I can take that scoop, I can either shake it up in a bottle of water, I can throw it in my protein shake. It's real easy.
It tastes great. I would describe the taste kind of like kind of chocolatey. It's really good. I mean, when you think about the fact that it is a green and some people freak out about greens, it tastes amazing. My sister actually helped me compare my old multivitamin to the Athletic Greens, and it is by far a much better product. AG1 by Athletic Greens. It is lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, so there's no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, and it all still tastes good, and it will cost you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than that old cold brew habit you have. They've got over 7,000 5-star reviews recommended by professional athletes, my sister, if that helps, and even trusted by leading health experts such as Tim Ferriss. So if you're ready to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season, it's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every single day. That's it. Seriously, no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to hook you guys up with a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/TNQ. Guys, there's been a lot of people reaching out to me on Instagram in my direct messages asking me, hey, is it really worth it? Is it worth the hype? It is. Check it out. athleticgreens.com/TNQ. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
So with us, I already dropped in. I had a flak jacket on. Came off that plane with, an old school green one into the desert.
That's how we had.
Right? I had all that high-speed tech with that flak jacket. And they dropped our ass in there, man. And then we had to, that's why our leadership was good, our chiefs, stuff like that, man. We, for the first couple of weeks, trying to get that battle rhythm. You know, most guys, that's when the units get hit. First month or so, month and a half, 2 months, then the last 2 months, because they're getting a battle rhythm in the beginning and then they're getting complacent in the end because they want to go home.
Yep. You know, funny thing about that green flak jacket during the invasion, I took a picture of when we crossed into the breach that night. You could see where I have my green flak jacket over my mop suit.
Yeah.
And I had my E-tool right here in the center of my chest. I was thinking if I did get shot in the chest, it might slow down that bullet enough where that flak jacket could stop that round.
Right. That big, has that bib around the top of it, that big green.
Yeah.
Oh man, those are great. And absolutely had that damn mop suit. We had, because when the lightning drills would go down, man, we'd have to mop suit up, freaking sleep in that damn thing. You talking about? Oh man, that's awesome. Good memory. Way to pull that one back. All right, keep going, man. So Mortuary Affairs, that's an entire unit in the Corps in itself.
Yeah, we were the only ones in the entire Marine Corps. The unit in Dayton, Ohio. There was, I think, at the most we had maybe 37 guys.
So is it divided up? There was a Marine that died. Chance was his name. They made a,
that is after what the job we do.
That's what that's exactly what I was about to ask you. So it's split. It's kind of like with us. Like you guys got to go in and get it, bring it back, and then you drop it, and then it shifts over to them, right? There's another unit that does the.
During the invasion, we were purely on the front lines. We were there with the grunts,
right.
Or during the confusion of the gigantic sandstorm, we actually
that thing sucked so bad
in front of the grunts. So, but during my third deployment, it was mostly with the guys. The guys who had that loss would bring the remains to us. And we would process the remains. So basically going through and annotating all of like their ID cards, their dog tags, laundry markings. You're making like witness statements and you're collecting all this evidence. So Dover would make that final determination that this person is this person. But there's multiple times where if the unit was still engaged in combat or the scene was too catastrophic, they would send my team out.
Right.
So we would go out there on the scene. A lot of times this is Ramadi that we were going into and cleaning up Bradley's.
Right. Ramadi was bad. I was there 06, 07. That sandstorm you brought up back in 03?
04, 05, and it left in February of 06.
So I ripped in when you were ripping out in 06. I came in right in the cold. I remember that. And then 02, 03, Iraq. That sandstorm. Hey, man,
03
if
Iraq.
you don't think sand can get everywhere, it can get inside closed canteen bottles.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like baby powder. Literally,
Yeah.
you can slide down the dune and wipe your butt with it. It's like the
still
cleanest
have
thing.
sand, sea bags still
Oh.
have sand in them.
I pulled out a flag the other day to put a new one up on the flagpole, and when I unfolded it, all that sand was in there. That fine powdery dust kind of.
Yep, talcum powder kind of
When
stuff.
it gets wet and you try to step it like moon dust, right? Remember, it clumps up like flour.
It turns to concrete.
Bro, that sandstorm. I'll never forget that sucker. That was all stopped. It like shut. It stopped all of us.
Like dig in place.
A dig in place, huh?
Yep.
Good time.
Good times.
All right. So when y'all go out and you collect the is that a standing unit or is it only wartime unit?
It was only wartime unit. That's why they decided to give it to the reserves.
That's pretty cool, man.
And because there's not a need for it during peacetime.
Wow.
And so at the time we were the only ones in the Marine Corps that did what we did. But we're still training on World War II manuals and kind of making things up on the fly.
Yeah.
We really didn't know how to employ them during combat. So when we figured out that we were going to move into Iraq, they spun us up to go train some guys down in Marietta, Georgia, and guys in Anacostia Navy Yards in DC. So 2 companies before we punched out. And we were one of the first units that got to Camp Coyote, and we're building that place up. So we built a ton of scud bunkers and put up tents. And
so how long's the pump if there's not that many of y'all?
So at the time, our pumps were supposed to be like 7 months, I guess, 7 to 8 months. But there was 3 companies, and they moved those other 2 guys in after us. So then they were looking at that we were going to do the initial invasion. And at the time, they were talking about weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
On us and that kind of stuff. And I didn't find out about this until I started writing my book, that the idea was that for us on the first wave, we're not going to make it. And the guys that we trained them in DC and down in Georgia, that they were supposed to come up and clean us up.
Right.
So
good feeling, right?
We were expecting a ton of casualties because we divided up into 3 teams, and each of the teams had 1,500 remains. Well, we call them remains pouches, but body bags.
Yep. And how many on that team?
On my team?
Yeah.
Yeah. At the time, we had 33 plus a couple of extra guys that jumped in there. So maybe about 37.
And y'all break that down into fire teams from there?
So we broke them into squads.
Yep.
And so my team had 11.
Yeah. That's what we run into, 11s.
Yeah.
Bigger platoons be 18 men, but then the reconnaissance, recovery units, and stuff like that. And then it can go down from 11 too, if we need be. But
oh yeah.
All right. So when that unit spun up, you guys were the first ones to go. What year was that?
03.
Well, man, that's when everything was kicking off.
Yes, sir.
Where'd you guys go into? Where'd y'all land and push out of?
I'm sorry?
Where were y'all out of?
We were out of, when we first got in there, we were at Camp Iwo Jima over in Camp Coyote. They moved us, when they were grouping us together, we left out of Camp Bougainville.
And all right. How long were you in?
I was in for 17 and a half years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I got medically retired.
Wow. Nice work, man. Thanks for your service.
No, thank you for yours.
All right. So, well, you're welcome. I enjoyed every second of it, man. All right. So when you come back and you get out, what then?
What are you talking about, in country?
Yeah.
Or are you talking
about,
in
country. We'll get to back home in a minute, but I mean, like, so when you guys rotate out, then what?
So they really didn't know what to do with this. So we did the initial invasion and we got replaced. Before we got to the goal line, the goal line was Baghdad. They wanted the other guys that we trained to get more experience. They thought the war was going to end within like a couple of weeks. So they moved us down to Kuwait, and we just sat there until they figured out that, all right, we need to send these guys home. So I think we left in like July of 03, one of the very first units to get back.
Where had y'all at KMB or Ali Salim? Where were y'all at in Kuwait?
We moved in back down to Coyote, to Iwo Jima, and from there, I think we moved out of Ali Salim.
Yeah.
And then we flew out.
We were at the naval base there, the Kuwaiti naval
Okay.
base, before it was built up. Like we were still tent city in it and all that. I heard that place changed now, though. I can only imagine what it looks like.
I'm sure.
All right, so go ahead. You guys rotate back in from the field and then back into Kuwait and set up. And then when you come back, where are you stationed at in the States?
We just come back and we deactivate, go back to our reserve unit, and it's basically you go back into drill status.
Yeah.
But when I came back from my first deployment, you went through your leave and then you signed out and then you went back to reserve status. But then I went back. I was a mailman. I went to delivering mail, and then a little bit of time passed, and they were like, "Hey, the MPs from the company Charlie, that side is going to leave, and we don't need Mortuary Affairs anymore. But we don't have enough MPs to do the job. Do you want to go?" And I was like, "Absolutely. I'd much rather go out there and feel like I'm making a difference." Than deliver mail. Delivering mail, you just get up in the morning, and no matter how hard you work, as soon as you go back in the next day, you got a mountain of mail to deliver. And over in combat, I felt like I was really making a difference between, helping provide security for the Iraqi people, training up the Marines, and feel like that I was doing something that meant something.
Yeah, man. Being a mailman, getting up every damn day, knowing there's a pile of mail, that's doing something. Don't y'all get on that one, bro.
Yeah,
that's old school. Like, was it rain, sleet, no matter what, this sucker's going through. You talking about like you're an old school mailman with the truck and the bag?
Yeah, and walking.
I make sure that I go out there and talk to my mail lady every time I see her.
It's hard work.
Well, man, we were talking about earlier. I saw something on the news up in LA that the people are robbing the trains and just pushing the packages out when they come in. And it's just,
it's crazy.
It's like there's somebody. Also, mailman protects your mail. I mean, it looks out for that stuff. That's a noble profession. It truly is. So, man, thanks for doing that one too.
Yeah,
you're a mailman. That's great.
Yeah.
How do you even get into that? First of all, and tell us some cool mailman stuff. I mean, what about the dogs? Yeah.
Coolest mailman story.
Cool mailman stuff. You get to meet a lot of really great folks,
How could you not? You go to everyone's house. I mean, they delivering their mail.
Absolutely. You make really great friends with people that you would have never met. I wasn't going to become a mailman at first. I was wanting to take every police test I could. I felt that I was going to gravitate towards that. Being a police officer sounded really cool. But my dad, when he got out of the Air Force, ended up was working for the post office, and he said, "Hey, come on down here," and they're testing, and I ended up taking the test and did pretty well, and got hired on back in '98, and I thought I was going to be a mailman for the rest of my life. I thought, hey, I got to work with my dad, so we got to eat lunch together all the time. It was really cool. Get to meet a lot of great folks. I've met guys who served on Iwo Jima, guys that served, the Bastogne. I had one guy that I delivered mail to who was at Monte Cassino in Italy. And literally right down the street, I ended up running into a Air Force. He was a general, but during World War II, he bombed Monte Cassino. And it's like, do you know that guy down there with the Purple Heart plates? And he's like, yeah, I see him all the time. Well, he was there. So I guess they ended up, becoming friends and stuff. But yeah, man, you get to meet all sorts of great people.
All right, so I just want I got a question to ask you. When I see them drive up trucks loaded down with the mail packages, the letters, individual letters with the addresses, some you can read, some you can't. Your first day on the job.
Our next partner has a product I've been using literally every single day for basically the last year and a half. I started taking Athletic Greens because I've had gut issues my entire life. Basically, since I was a little kid, couldn't handle milk or formula or any of that stuff. I actually had to take Pedialyte, which is really bizarre. And it caused a bunch of problems when I was a kid. And, growing up, I just have always had gut health issues. And so the challenge with that is you can take, probiotics, and you can be super mindful about your diet, and you can take multivitamins. But before you know it, your cabinet's full, your drawers are full, you don't remember what you bought for what, and you start getting out of the routine of being consistent. And I was tired of that. I had heard a lot about Athletic Greens from some of my favorite YouTubers. They were actually talking about how amazing it was and how easy it was. And I was like, you know what? Let's see what the hype's all about. And so I tried it. I've been using it now, like I said, for over a year, and it's pretty incredible. My sister is a big health nut, all right? And I say that in the most kind way. She does all her research. She makes sure that the products that she's taking are always the top-notch ingredients because she's got an autoimmune disease. She has to be really mindful about what she puts in her body. Athletic Greens seriously has done their homework. They've done their research. They've only picked ingredients that are credible for your body. When she reads off the ingredients, I can't say half the words, but she knows exactly what they are. She knows that they're the best for you. How does it work? What is this stuff? With one delicious scoop of Athletic Greens, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens that are all going to help you start your day right. This special blend of ingredients is going to support that gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging, all the things. I've been using it because it's freaking easy. All right. I can wake up, I can take that scoop, I can either shake it up in a bottle of water, I can throw it in my protein shake. It's real easy. It tastes great. I would describe the taste kind of like kind of chocolatey. It's really good. I mean, when you think about the fact that it is a green, and some people freak out about greens, it tastes amazing. My sister actually helped me compare my old multivitamin to the Athletic Greens, and it is by far a much better product. AG1 by Athletic Greens. It is lifestyle friendly. Whether you eat keto, paleo, vegan, dairy-free, or gluten-free, it contains less than 1 gram of sugar, so there's no GMOs, no nasty chemicals or artificial anything, and it all still tastes good, and it will cost you less than $3 a day. You're investing in your health, and it's cheaper than that old cold brew habit you have. They've got over 7,000 5-star reviews recommended by professional athletes, my sister, if that helps, and even trusted by leading health experts such as Tim Ferriss. So if you're ready to reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition, especially heading into the flu and cold season, it's just 1 scoop in a cup of water every single day. That's it. Seriously, no need for a million different pills and supplements to look out for your health. To make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to hook you guys up with a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/TNQ. Guys, there's been a lot of people reaching out to me on Instagram in my direct messages asking me, hey, is it really worth it? Is it worth the hype? It is. Check it out. athleticgreens.com/TNQ. Take ownership of your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
You could just do your route and throw the mail in there like it was nothing. I mean, I that seems like that would be hard to me. Like I watched them do the routes, and one of the guys showed up and he was showing me everywhere he had to go and every drop he had to make. And I was, man, that's impressive. I mean, it's a battle rhythm in that too, right?
And the funny thing is that you have to know multiple routes.
Right.
So you don't learn just one route. You learn, for me, I went over, and whoever had a day off, and I had to learn their route. And then if they came in on their day off, I had to go somewhere else. So I knew most of the routes and the people who live there, and what mail they get and what mail they don't.
I was about to say, man, you got to be the best wheelman in the country because you know the area really well, and everybody's like, "Oh man, that's so and so. He runs a hot car shop."
Where their mailboxes were. Some people had them in the front. Some people had them in the back. Somebody had to go inside. Some people you had to go and hand the mail to them because they were too old to make it to the mailbox. Which houses had the dogs that'll attack you? Where do you have to watch the step for the needles? The drug users, they have needles in the grass.
So when you're going through training, what's the protocol? Do you sit down like they used to do us in the military, and you got to watch a video on dog attacks?
I don't remember anything like that.
Any formal training whatsoever? They just said
dog spray, and they like watch out for the dogs. You'll have guys, if you're covering their routes, they'll have what's called a dog card. So they'll mix in these cards that'll warn you in with the mail. So as soon as you're going through, you get to that address, and you know that they have cards. For that, you're gonna have dogs they're aggressive. But a lot of guys don't do that.
So What is it? You as a delivery guy, you show up and then it's already stacked and racked for you and loaded, and you just have to do the route.
Well, there's guys who deliver their routes. A lot of times they would show up in the morning and put up that mail, and you would get that mail and deliver that for them. Or you would come in the morning and you would put up that mail as if you were that person, and then you go out on the street and carry.
Okay. So it varied. You had to mix it up.
It varied. I enjoyed it. Like I said, the best part about delivering mail is working with really great folks and being a part of just a lot of people depend on it, especially older folks. They like, that's their interaction with people every day is to come in. So whenever you see like somebody's mails piling up and, maybe that person had fallen down, and that happened to me once. I noticed, this lady who was very punctual with her mail and she was elderly. So I knocked on her door. She's like, "Help me!" And I went in and I, got her up out of the chair and everything, or got her up off the floor into her chair.
That's a great point. You don't really think about it like that, but when it comes to the people who come to our house and deliver our mail and do everything, they're also, it is a welfare check. It's like you get used to seeing people. If they're not there, you understand that, hey, there might be something going on.
You get to know all their rhythms.
Yeah.
And, how cool, just, if somebody's in like, has medical problems, and you get to know all that stuff. And you wouldn't really think so, just because you spend so much, just a brief moment in time with that person. But you spend the same people every day.
Right. That time builds up.
And you get to know their mail and what their interests are, that kind of stuff.
Sure. If you really take a hard look at it, a lot of people think that they spend a lot of time, or it's like, oh, this is my friend. And this is when I was like, man, but who do you actually spend more time with? My crew and I were talking about this. I was like, I grew up and I still have the same crew I ran around with as a kid. And then I have my new one, and I was like, man, I spend more time with y'all than I do most people ever.
Yep.
And even if it's at work or if it's whatever it is you're doing, man, you're still spending time with them. It's just what y'all are doing together. So enjoy that time together. Get to know each other, and you'll also get to know each other by default. Just by being around each other, you pick up the mannerisms and how everything works. So
that was a good thing about how I, because I worked with my dad, and I got to know him in a totally different light than I knew him as a father and son. We became pretty much best friends. And so I got to know him more of a man to man than the father than son. So our connection grew much stronger.
I was about to say, what's that like? I never had that. I didn't have that.
Yeah, it was, he just grew much stronger because he was there, especially when I came back home after my tours, and he could see, because we used to ride together to work, and he could see how much I changed and how things were bought and how I was so much quieter when I came home. But it's easier to confide in somebody that you trust as a friend than it is that somebody, like it's your dad.
All right. Like, hell yeah, I wanted to tell you, but I just couldn't because you're my father. That's tough, right? It's like,
so, with him and his experiences during the Vietnam War, was able to kind of point me in the right direction, even though he said, you've seen a hell of a lot more than I ever did. But, if you ever need somebody to talk to, I'm always here.
Oh,
and
they're good for that. Yeah. My father was good for that.
Yeah.
If I ever needed direction, and I try to teach this to my sons too. I'm like, hey, I'm your father. I'm not your friend. This whole 9 yards, but if you need something like some directions, or I needed something like, man, the whole thing would shift. Like, oh, here's what I got for you. Here's where you need to do this, that, and the other, man. Yeah, for sure. And then they immediately switched back over to that. Every time he looked at me, I thought he wanted to kill me. Even when I wasn't doing anything wrong, he's like, I know you're trying to do something wrong. I'm like, no, sir, I promise. Freaking love you, Dad.
You got injured in 2000.
I love you, Dad.
Please. So you got injured in 2004, but immediately volunteered to go right back in. Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
How I got injured?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Both.
Okay. Yeah, I was. I ended up volunteering to go over on my second tour, and they stuck me with a mobile training team. We were supposed to train Iraqi policemen in a town called Haditha.
Oh, what a great op that was, right? We just same thing, same town, man. By freaking dam, right?
That's
Haditha
right.
Dam, the dam op.
At the hydraulic dam. So I was with they married me up with Weapons Company, 3rd Battalion, 4th Marines, and we were just there to take over from the Army, the 3rd ACR, and we ended up moving in the area. And how they patrolled was usually in vehicles, and when our lieutenant colonel came in, he was like, nope, we're going to be on the ground. We're patrolling on foot. We're going to get into where the people are, and we're going to make friends and weed these Al-Qaeda guys out. And that's what we did. We go in 18-man patrols and move into the city. And one of the first patrols, I think we were there 2 weeks before I got blown up.
What year was that?
04.
Haditha, man. Yeah, go ahead.
March 13th of 2004. 10:30 in the morning.
What, foot patrol?
Foot patrol.
What, you stepped on something or somebody else stepped on it?
I didn't know what had happened.
Or did somebody blast it?
But it was a 122 millimeter mortar that was set up at a base of a telephone pole. I was 15 feet away from it. And it picked me up and threw me off the road, destroyed the radio that I was carrying. The thing was, the guys at the end of the patrol said that it was buried too deep because it blew up more than out.
All right.
And if they buried it closer to the surface, I wouldn't be here now, because that thing's got a kill radius of 120 feet.
Yeah.
So,
did you lose anything?
I got a chunk of my leg taken off, my calf. Looks like an ice cream scoop out of my leg.
Yeah.
I still got
like shark bite.
What's that?
So you got a shark bite.
Yeah, we got a shark bite,
Yep.
and it does look like a shark bite. Funny.
That's what we call them, shark bites.
But I also got a piece of shrapnel right next to my femoral artery, my left thigh. And
nice. Didn't nick it, did it?
No. They decided to leave it in place.
Is it still there?
It's still there.
Yeah, encapsulated. Those are cool X-rays, right?
Yep. But as far as that, we got lucky. Like I tell these guys, if it was written in the stars where it had to happen, the best outcome happened. We got wounded, we didn't get killed.
Yeah.
From it. So I had another guy. They got the shark bite on his tricep. One of our another guy had a piece of shrapnel went through his nose and lodged in his skull. And our corpsman looked like he took shotgun blasts the back of each leg and the back of his butt and back of his arms.
One of the coolest ones I saw was one of our officers. He got shot in the chest but behind it was weird. It was behind his plates, but in front of his ribs. So through he had a big barrel chest. So I went in one side, came out in the middle, went to the other middle, and came out the other side.
Wow.
Oh, so cool. And then it had the ripples, the indention ripples. So like when he flexes now, it looks like he's mad ripped.
Whoa.
But I know, it's so cool. So like that was in the morning. This dude's like, oh dude. Yeah. His nickname is God of War, Father of War. Can't remember it now. But anyways, as they were rolling back out, he was running out of the hospital with just the bandage of his body armor in his hand. Wait. I mean, after a while, when you send us in there so long, we kind of become what we are. I remember when guys would get hurt in the beginning. They would have 40, 50, 70, 80 surgeries to keep a leg. Now the guys will get a splinter or something like that, and they're like, take it. Give me that pneumatic freaking thing, makes me run faster. And I mean, the technology, I got handed to the civilian guys too, keeping up with us. It's almost was a give, as far as we got pushed backwards and going into war is going backwards. You know what I mean? It just is. It's going back to the old school ways. when we're killing each other. But the good part about it was our civilian populace saw that, and they started pushing forward in the other direction to accommodate our injuries when we got back. And, bless them for that.
Yep.
Bless them for that.
Absolutely.
All right, man, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. No
that
worries,
freaking Haditha, that damn op. I'll never forget. We had to stay at the bottom, and the flights of stairs in between the flights of stairs were like, there's 20 of them. So that was the running joke. I'll never forget. We had Hotmail. We got a computer for the first time, and I tried to download one email, and I started it that night. We went on an op, came back, went to bed, woke up next morning. It was halfway down the page. It was just a picture.
Yeah.
And then they had that 5. That was the cleanest. Go ahead.
We were on the 3rd deck. So everybody used to go down to use porta-johns.
Right.
I decided to go up because nobody wanted to climb all those steps.
Oh.
And they were the cleanest ones.
They had the numbers spray painted on the side of the wall as you were going up the deal.
Yep.
That was the cleanest water I'd ever seen. And we were looking for WMD in the bottom. So we were in our mop suits and the Zodiacs with the tow rays out there and streaming that lake. And it was because they said they contaminated the lake. So we were in our mop suits driving around doing that. I'll never forget this. It was so freaking hot, like 120 degrees. I look over and our chief's at the bottom of the dam by the spill on that little ledge right there, strips off butt naked and jumps in the lake. He's like, it's so damn hot. I don't care. Hey, that's how we figured out it wasn't contaminated. We're good. He didn't care. He's like, this guy's hardcore.
This heat's going to kill me before
Yeah, whatever.
the chemicals.
And as soon as we saw him jump in, we were like, let's go.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. I remember that place. And HIT. Did y'all roll into Haditha? You go through HIT?
I don't remember HIT.
Well, the only reason I remember is because we got hit there.
Yeah. I don't remember HIT, but that's one of those towns that are in that local area there.
Yeah,
so
right around there for sure.
And if we did go through there, nothing really.
It's small. Yeah, it was small. The only reason I remember it is because of that name. It was the first time I'd ever see gunfire and missiles going like for real. You see them streaming through the air. That was one thing out there is whether you were in it or you weren't, you could still see it all. It was all around you.
Where were you? When were you over at the Haditha?
Man, it was midsummer 03. Yeah.
Okay. You were there before me. Were those big high electrical towers, were they still on the ground, or were they on the ground yet? Or
I don't remember those.
Okay, because when we rolled up, we were driving because we drove up from Kuwait.
Yep. Yeah, we did. We drove up too,
all the way.
Yep.
Yeah, we had to drive all the gauntlet.
Yeah,
and I remember seeing the big high tension power lines that they had the explosives put at the bottom of them, and they had crunched over.
Oh yeah. No, I didn't see that. I remember going out there. Our chief was like, "Hey, we're probably gonna get shot at. Just remember that." I was like, "How do you know when we're supposed to engage back?" He's like, "If your body armor's missing, shoot back." I mean, we were in this huge 2.5. And my old boy, one of the snipers, he was sitting on shotgun on that hump right there, that shotgun seat.
Yep. I
was having the best time. What are we, 23 years old back in them days, man? Just in a driving back in time, seeing all that. It's terrifying. At the same time, though, for sure.
Yeah.
That's what's so cool about having the old timers around. Is like, man, they just look so comfortable. He's like, this stuff's going to stick to you like a snotty booger. And he was like, he started going on. He's like, I don't give a shit what happens out here. Damn it, we're going to get it done. And then, you're like, yeah, hell yeah, we're going to get it done.
Yeah.
That was a good times, man.
Man.
All right, guys, let's take a second to thank another one of our sponsors, 10,000. You heard me talk about them before. When it comes to wearing quality workout shorts, there is no better company out there making products like 10,000. I do most of my workouts at my home gym, and my home gym is really just a garage. No padded floors, no fancy mirrors, no fancy equipment, just the garage, okay? And the problem with that is I don't have a padded floor, all right? I'm rucking with my nice ruck bag. I've got weights pounding down on me. I've got the floor tearing my stuff up when I'm doing sit-ups and push-ups. 10,000 makes the highest quality, best fitting, and most comfortable training shorts I've ever worn. I've been wearing their tactical shorts. It's the ultimate combination of durability, mobility, and versatility, and their interval shorts, which is their most versatile short, which is perfect for any workout. Now, their tactical shorts were actually developed and tested with over 50 special ops members who put it to the test by rucking, swimming, lifting, just all around beating it up, producing the holy grail of tough workout shorts. Now, you guys know the average Joe, especially a guy like me, I'm probably not going to put them through the same test that these special ops members put them through. So if they will work for them, they will absolutely work for me, and they have been incredible. They really have all the features you look for in a workout short. They've got permanent anti-odor protection. They've got an optional liner that is very comfortable, prevents chafing, 4-way stretch, and breathable and lightweight shelf fabric, which means you're not going to get real hot while you're wearing them. They've got a team of over 200 athletes who are testing their gear to ensure the perfect design, fabric, trims, fit, which means when you buy their shorts, you know you're going to buy a product that's going to hold up. They've got free shipping, free returns, and a lifetime guarantee. You're not going to get that from your local sports goods store. 10,000 wants to hook you guys up with 15% off your purchase. If you've been thinking about getting some new workout shorts, maybe 2022 is your year of losing weight or getting back in shape or getting in the best shape of your life, well, then you guys need to head over to 10,000.cc. Enter our code TNQ. You're going to receive 15% off your purchase. That is 10,000.cc. Enter our code TNQ. Remember, at the heart of 10,000 is a stoic dedication to continuous improvement. Every day faster, every day stronger, every day better than yesterday. I love what they stand for. I love their product. Make sure you guys check them out. 10,000.cc. Enter our code TNQ and get that 15% off.
All right, go ahead. So, Marine, the mailman. Were you a mailman before Marine?
No, I joined the Marines right out of high school.
All right.
And I
Marine,
ended up,
mailman, mortuary guy. You got the M's down, bro.
Yeah, the mailman, Mortuary Affairs, Marine Corps,
MP,
Married.
married.
Man.
Mortuary Affairs. That's got to be
From the Midwest.
Yeah.
Yep, Midwest.
That's a heavy job, man. How do you prepare for something like that? How do you handle that coming back?
See, that's the tough part. You know, I used to think that the actual job of doing it at the time, and it was heavy at the time. You know, my third deployment, we were super, super, super busy. And we had to process some of the guys that our friends, some of our friends that got killed, guys that who served in EOD. And so it was terribly rough to do at the time. But when you get home, that's when everything unloads in your mind. And I had a really, really hard time dealing with the aftermath. So, yeah.
Well, it's different because when we're in, like, we would never anticipate death. I remember when guys started dying for the first time, it's kind of normally it's not around us, right? You just keep pushing. And then eventually it made its way over to us when everyone kind of started dying and you get into that zone. Because that was your job. Most of us fight to avoid that. Y'all had to fight to go get into it. Did you ever lose anybody on your team?
No. You know, just lost some friends that we served with.
Sure. No, I mean, I didn't mean friends overall, just so everyone's clear about that. When he talks about we know everybody, it's like, because you started boot camp when we're kids and you just keep going. Like, you're running to guys at schools and lateral over, and then, you know, you're going to go years by and then you're like, hey, who's so-and-so? And then when you get over, you run into guys. That was kind of crazy when they sent us over to the sandbox and you start running into your buddies. I mean, out in the middle of nowhere. Out in the middle of nowhere, you run into like a buddy.
Yeah.
And
we start recognizing guys that we were on the same convoys during the push, during the invasion of Iraq. For instance, this is after I got blown up, but my gunny, they had some guys that came over and they were like, you look familiar. Where are you from? And they were trying to go through their list of where they served at and all this stuff. And they were like, did you lose anybody last year? It's like, yeah, we lost the gunny last year and we gave him the Mortuary Affairs because I'm Mortuary Affairs. So they recognize each other from year before that they had lost the gunnery sergeant. I think he got shot in the neck. But they had to sit on his remains a couple of days before a helicopter could come down and take him. but they recognized him from that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, in case people aren't aware of that, usually to get a body when you have to sit, that same thing happened to us. The guys were on the mountain side of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And PJs and everybody that had to go in there. PJs got me out, and then the guys that had to go back in. It's something. I mean, it's a good feeling to know that will come get you. Like our guys, we'll come get you.
Absolutely.
I know there's some times out there I was like, man, you guys aren't getting out here fast enough.
Nah.
You know what I mean? But then on the way back, they were like, we let you sit out here for a couple extra days just to make you nervous. I was like, that's not funny. That's funny now, but you know what I mean? It just, if you guys, for the young guys out there, and you hear these stories and they're crazy and they are great, it's an adventure. If you're going to have to live a life down here, you might want to, you can live it any way you want. You can live it like we did. But if you're young and coming up and you're looking for a place and a path to do it, the one that we walked, there's nothing wrong with that. And yeah, it does make you different. Hard times do that, but it's not in a bad way. It's in a good way. You don't get battle weakened, you get battle hardened. And as you go through that flow, it ebbs and flows. And there's just times when the ups and downs, but ultimately at the end of it, it creates something that's stronger than anything that went in there, for sure.
Absolutely. And I appreciate even the smallest things to this day. I think that it made me a better person to go through all of that, because to me, family was always big, but now my family is everything to me. And, I've lived so many years away from them, and now I try to spend as much time to be there as a good father, as a good role model. I appreciate the smallest things like air conditioning.
Oh, it's so good. I was doing that the other day, bro.
Refrigeration.
Hot water, air conditioning,
hot water,
yoga pants, the wheel, toilet paper is a good one. There's some blessings down. Yeah. Hot water and cold air.
Even eating food with no sand in it.
Yeah. Not out of a green mermite tub.
Yep.
What are we having for dinner? Something out of a green mermite tub. Why?
Being able to go to sleep at night and not have that sitting in the back of your brain that you may not make it tomorrow.
Now that insanity would go until it would leave. That's what when I think that we had to shift gears is when it was like, whatever.
Yep.
Sit here and thinking about it, or I'm not thinking about it, and then when it happens, it goes down.
No, but that was my job. That's what really made it tough is when I got blown up on my second tour, and then going back for my third, my invincibility bubble got popped.
Oh.
So now I'm in a job that I know exactly what I'm going to look like when, this vehicle blows up. Because, they would set up a scene, they would blow up a Bradley, and then they would try to draw more guys in.
Yeah.
And that was us. We usually rolled out with EOD because they got to clear a lane for us so we can get to the remains. And they got to check the remains to make sure that, there's no 40 Mike that's sitting inside this inferno overnight ready to blow. So we've got to work with those guys. And those guys all had bounties on their heads.
Yeah. What was the separation in time from when you got hurt till you went back?
I got blown up in March of 2003, and I was spinning back up in, I want to say, May of 2005. I mean, 2005. Yeah, it was 2005. No, not 2003. March of 2004. Then May of 2005, I'm spinning back up to go over.
Yeah, that was how my turnaround was like that too. I remember getting back in there. I kind of had the heebie-jeebies. First gunfight we got in. I remember we got back to the base, and one of my new guys came up to me. He's like, "Man, I was nervous." He's like, "I looked up there, and you just kind of took a knee and you looked around for a little bit, and you made the call and got us out of there. I just wanted to say thanks for for coming back in here." I was like, "Keep thinking that." I was like, I was nervous as hell. I was like, when those bullets started flying, and I took that knee out. The first thing in my head was like, "What in the hell am I doing back in here?" I'm not kidding. And it seemed like it lasted forever. And then finally, I was like, "All right, let's get out of here," kind of deal. And we fought our way out of there. But it knocked the courage out of me. Like I got my courage whipped out of me, and I had to go get that back. Like I had all these tools, and this fancy race car that could do all kinds of cool stuff, but I didn't have a driver to drive it. I left that dude on the mountain. So I had to go get build a new one. And it started by getting back into the war all the way up until today, kind of every day.
Yeah, it was everything in my body was telling me that I wasn't going to make it, that this is the mission. And, but I wanted to be there for my troops. I wanted to be there with them. And so, I just had to suck it up and push through it and just hope for the best.
Oh, yeah.
By the time it got to getting on the bird, leaving for my third deployment, I was surprised I was walking onto the bird.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about the book.
All right. When I first came back home, I had a really rough time adjusting, and I lost my job. I won't say I lost. I ended up leaving the post office. I couldn't handle the stress. I was basically drinking every night so I can sleep, and I ended up going to the VA and going through a lot of mental therapy and stuff. And years go by, I ended up going to the VFW, and I started to talk to one of the Navy corpsmen from Vietnam. And he was like, "I know what you need." And I'm like, "Yeah, what? Another beer?" He was like, "No, you need to sit down and start writing," because it helped me out when I came back home from Vietnam. I'm pretty sure it will help you out.
We are supported by ExpressVPN. I got to tell you guys a quick story. I was talking to one of my buddies recently. He's a business owner here in Texas, and he was telling me how someone got a hold of his information online. They were able to use it in a different state to create a new bank account at his current bank. They were able to transfer over $100,000 out of his bank account into a new business, all fake, all because of information they were able to get online. Most of it was probably some type of malicious hacking. Sometimes I think we're out there on the internet. We just don't realize how vulnerable we are. Maybe we're searching stuff we shouldn't be for searching. Not necessarily the bad stuff. Maybe it's just you're looking up gifts and you don't want anybody to know that you're searching for gifts for them, or whatever the case may be. And I think most of us are probably thinking, why don't you just use incognito mode? Protects your searching history. It'll take care of you. Let me tell you guys something. Incognito mode does not hide your activity. It doesn't matter what mode you use or how many times you clear your browsing history. Your internet service provider can still see every single website you've ever visited. And that is why even when I'm at home, I'm never going online without using ExpressVPN. It doesn't matter who your internet service provider is. ISPs in the United States can legally sell your information to the ad companies out there. ExpressVPN, for those of you guys who don't know about it, it is an app that reroutes your internet connection through their secure servers so your internet service provider cannot see the sites you're visiting. It's also going to keep all your information secure by encrypting 100% of your data with the most powerful encryption available. Most of the time, you're not even going to realize you have ExpressVPN on. It runs seamlessly in the background. It's easy to use. All you have to do is tap one button and you're going to know that you're protected. It's available on all your devices, phone, computer, even your smart TV. So there's no excuse for you to not be using it. So if you truly want to protect your online activity, today is the day to do it. Use the VPN rated #1 by Business Insider. You can visit our exclusive link, expressvpn.com/TNQ. You can get an extra 3 months free on a 1-year package. That's expressvpn.com/TNQ. expressvpn.com/TNQ. Learn more. Get those free 3 months with a 12-month plan.
So at first I thought it was a bunch of BS. So I ended up just tucking away in my back pocket. And just one night, I woke up from another nightmare. And instead of grabbing another bottle to go back to sleep, I just pulled out the computer and I just started writing. And I ended up writing like 20 pages that night. Just felt good to get something out and to go through and put it somewhere and not really go through and feel like I'm being judged for whatever my decisions were and everything with these past events that had happened. So I just ended up keeping it up. And over the years, I ended up teaching myself how to write. And I ended up writing from different perspectives and stuff. And I would take those stories and go into the VA with my therapist, and we would go through my sticking points and talk about them. He'd help me work through those. And it ended up really helping my marriage out, because my wife was able to read like the day one of my buddies got blown up, and we had to process him and all the feelings that went up. And so she was able to understand a lot better than what it was before, where I tell her and she didn't get it.
Yeah.
But when she read the book or read the chapters, she was able to understand where my mind was at. So a couple of years go by, and I ended up writing a bunch of stories. My wife's like, "Hey, you ever thought about writing a book? Putting all this stuff down. This stuff's pretty good." And so I ended up saying, "All right, let's go ahead and do that." And writing the book helped me get it out and then put my hands around it, to get it out. And so it ended up being something that instead of me being ashamed of all those times I felt weak, it ended up making me feel a lot better, that I can put it somewhere. So I ended up publishing it, and it has, I'm getting messages from people from all over the world thanking me for the job. First off, it's one of 2 books ever written about the subject. But the way that I explain everything in the book is I go through and admit my failures, and I admit my emotions, and the good times and the bad. So it's really helped me out considerably.
Man, that's called flipping the script.
Yeah.
I write too. I keep a journal.
Yeah.
And I just kind of started writing with notes, just like little stuff. People are like, how do you write all that? I'm like, man, just put that sucker by your toilet and just jot something down at the end of the day, whenever you're sitting in there. And it's almost like this. So when you're holding on to that into your head, it's like a movie director holding on to a script that he's trying to get out. Only we had to go through it in real life. So when you're putting it on paper, it's legit. It's not something you're having to come up to because the emotions are what's pushing that. And then when you write it down and you read it back to yourself, you're reading a script that you wrote, that you lived through yourself, and it takes pressure off of you. I mean, it really does. Not only that, when you slide that over and people read it, it's like watching a movie. It's like you telling them a story. And not only that, you become a character in it, and your friends change their lives, just like you said. And it does. It helps, because if you keep it in your head and it keeps rolling around, like if you have a constant thought that keeps rolling around, either say it out loud or write it down, and that'll help that go away.
Right.
Otherwise, you'll just keep it bottled up in there. It's a real thing.
It goes in circles, because you're reliving that moment over and over and over in your head. And no matter how strong you are internally, if that cycle keeps on going, you don't put an end to that cycle, it'll wear you down.
Yeah.
I say that even the mightiest of mountains will eventually tumble into the sea. You let those waves hit you every day, it'll eventually derail you and knock you down. And that's what helped me, was to be able to stop that and to, just to get it out.
Yeah. And
able to get some sleep without turning into something that, like alcohol, that I was drinking every night, and going through that whole phase.
People sleep a lot better after something than when they watch something, as opposed to when they go through it personally. It's kind of one of those deals where, like, I saw that on a TV show. People saw and watched what happened to us, it's entertaining to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know that because when they make movies into it, they go get entertained by it.
Yeah.
And that, in any capacity, releasing that to everybody else, like giving that problem to everybody else, and they help you with it. The best part about what happened to me is when we start talking about it, because the people are like, "Hey, man, good job." I'm like, "Really?" Like, yeah. I'm like, "Thank you." Just the first one, it's kind of like chipping all that away. That's what those people. That's what our countrymen are for. People are there's one big family down here. Every now and again, somebody will come up and throw one of those at you, like, thank you for doing that. And it pulls off a piece of that pain.
Like they say, it takes a village to raise the child. I think it takes, a village to welcome back the warriors.
Yeah. Heal the warrior. Sure. Absolutely. They're the ones that send us.
Yep.
If it takes the village to send the warriors out, it takes a village to bring them back.
Right. One thing that I found out that it also helped out a lot of other people who served over there, and they thanked me. Like some of the guys who served with Master Sergeant Angus and Staff Sergeant Richardson when those guys had got killed. The guys from their team has reached out and thanked me for bringing them up and trying to honor them. And also the book reminds people that the guys who got killed on the battlefield is just the beginning of the sacrifice.
Oh.
It's their family members that still have to make that sacrifice every day. And that I acknowledge that at the end of the book.
Well, it shows you that we're still there are Americans that are still willing to sacrifice for their country.
Absolutely. And I also wanted to make sure that, remind people that these guys, they go over, they're not just numbers on a whiteboard somewhere. These are real people with real aspirations.
Yeah.
And, real families, and they go over, and not just once, but, 2, 3, 4 or more times.
Sure. Think about that. That's not the chumps that sign up for the military to go into war.
Right.
That's your best. That's the best guys you got. They're the ones that will get in there and willing to do anything.
They're putting their families on hold.
Yeah.
They're putting everything on hold to go over and to do a job that the American people asked them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sacrifice.
Oh yeah, that's love too.
Yep,
for sure.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, how can people find you and get to you? And we'll promote your book, man, and push you out as best we can.
Thanks,
welcome to the team. I got a file on you right here, bro. So
awesome.
Ain't going anywhere.
Yeah. The book is called No Tougher Duty, No Greater Honor. A memoir of a mortuary affairs Marine. And that is on Amazon, Kindle, and on Audible. And you can find me on Facebook at No Tougher Duty, No Greater Honor, or on Instagram is at no_tougher_duty.
All right. So what about the future? Podcasting, you put your word out. What are you doing? You delivering flyers? You have a souped up mail truck with a high powered engine in it?
I don't know, man. I went to lineman school, electrical lineman.
Yeah.
And I ended up graduating from there, and I ended up just taking tests and seeing where I can get plugged in at. I've got a few more book ideas because I really enjoy the process of writing.
It's changed so much. The whole writing concept and how people read and gather their information. Yeah. It's really something. Plus, all the information's out there. I mean, anytime you post something or print something out from your perspective, I mean, death, right? Let's be the death messenger. When death went down, you got to show up.
Exactly.
I mean, I can only imagine the call signs and nicknames they got for your crew. I'm sure there's a bunch of them. Just off the top of my head, what I was thinking when you told me what you did, I was like, oh, freaking.
We used to roll out, our call sign was Crypt Keeper.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah, oh yeah. You go all day with him.
Yeah.
I bet. Hey, your badges should have been that Crypt Keeper because they think that joker's bad. The old school Crypt Keeper from back in the day.
That's right.
Here comes the keepers. All right. Yeah. Just keep doing what you're doing, man. I mean, married, kids.
Yep. I'm married. Same woman for the last 100 years.
Nice work. No, that's a good job. Yeah. I've been running through time with mine too.
For 23 now. We have 2 beautiful girls. One's 21. The other one is about to turn 11 here soon. And
so you're about to go through the teenage years. I have one who's 9. She's about to be 10. So I'll be going through that with you.
Yeah. Our older one, she's 21, and that is rough going through seeing the changes and stuff. Now this other one is my little sweetheart, and she follows me around, and we'll work out in the garden together, or and so she's always wanting to know what's on my mind, and to watch her do her changes here soon. It's bittersweet, man.
Sure. I make an arrangement with Adelaide. Like, all right, look, I'm gonna take care of you and make sure you get to where you're going. When I get old, you got to take care of me. You can go do anything you want, but then it's got to be a doctor so you can take care of Dad. Deal? Don't worry about how mean I am and disciplining your brother. All right, he's man cub. That's different. My daughter, like, sweetheart, yeah. Because I think your mom might let me die.
That's funny.
Oh man,
Chris, thanks so much, man,
yeah, bro,
for coming on.
It's an honor, man. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
Take care of yourself. God bless you, man.
Oh, God bless, brother. Take
All right.
care.
Yep. Out.
All right, bye.